Okay, so when solving quadratic equations, or any equation for that matter, invariably it's about trying to work out what value for x in this case will make this statement true. Okay, now with our quadratics, invariably it means we're trying to find our x-intercepts. Now, the easiest way in which we can approach that is really by factorising completing the square, or we can use the quadratic formula. Now, the reason we factorise, if we come down here, if there's a product of terms that equals 0, our null factor law says that one of those expressions must be 0. So if we have 5 times x is equal to 0, well, either the 5 or the x has to be 0. It's the only way that we can have that statement to be true is if, in fact, if 5x was equal to 0, the only way that can be true is if x is 0. However, if I've got a product of terms equal to, say, 1, well, there's an infinite number of solutions there. We can have 1, 1. 1 times 1 is 0. I could have half times 2, a third times 3, and that's not even talking about the negative numbers. So my null factor law only applies if my right-hand or left-hand side is 0. So if we apply that to this side, from the null factor law, it implies then that x plus 5 is equal to 0, or x minus 2 is equal to 0. And then we solve each of those equations separately. X has to be negative 5, or x has to be equal to 2 of my two solutions. So in reality, the factorising, that's a step towards solving. So if we have a look at this quadratic here, product of terms that might, factors of 28 that might add to 3, well, 7 4s are 28. So if I have x plus 7 and x minus 4, 7 times negative 4 is negative 28, 7 plus negative 4 is 3. So there's my factors, which means then x has to equal negative 7, or x has to equal positive 4. All right. Final example, let's rearrange it to make it familiar. 4x squared minus 21x plus 5 has to equal 0. So again, let's factorise. So let's try a 2x as the factors of the first term. Factors of 5 are just 5 and 1, aren't they? So it's not going to help us. 2 5s are 10, 2 1s are 2. So that's not going to get there. So let's try a 4x and an x. Cross multiply with 5. I'm going to put 5 1 there because 4 5s are 20 and 1 is 21. We need negative 21, so if they're both negative there, I get negative 20x minus x is negative 21x. So there's my solution. Well, they're my factors. So I get 4x minus 1, x minus 5 is equal to 0. So that means 4x minus 1 is equal to 0, or x minus 5 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 1/4 if I take the 1 over and divide by 4, or x is equal to 5 are the solutions. Give that a go.